Hey, what's going on guys? Felice here and welcome to another PC build for the month of April. Last month in March we took a look at a $700 gaming PC that was able to get you pretty decent performance, and now we're taking a look at a $1,000 build. Now this is quite a big budget for a PC, and this is what I call the sweet spot in terms of gaming PCs. You're getting a ton of power, and yeah, you're spending a little bit more money, but it's definitely going to be well worth it. If you haven't checked out that $700 build, I'll leave a link to it in the description down below. It'll be the first link down below that like button, so you can go ahead and check it out in case you haven't. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into this month's build for $1,000. So for the case, I decided to go with the Fractal Design Define R4, and this is one of the most minimalistic ATX mid-tower cases from Fractal Design, and it's specifically optimized for noise reduction. It's made entirely out of steel, and it's all around feature packed with support for liquid cooling and also support for micro ATX, ITX, ATX and mini ATX motherboards, and 2 USB 3.0 ports on the front. For $89.99, I strongly recommend you to get this case, especially if you're doing liquid cooling in the future. Fractal Design is an awesome company. They make great cases, and this is one of them. Next, for the processor, I decided to go with the Intel Core i5 4690K, clocked in at 3.5 GHz, and this one has 4 cores and 4 threads, and it also has the new Intel Haswell architecture. It's highly overclockable, excellent for gaming, and recommended all over the place. You can't go wrong with it. And you also get a few features like dynamic acceleration and turbo boost in here. And for $226, this is one of the best CPUs for gaming that you can get in this price range. For the motherboard, we're checking out the ASRock Z97 Extreme 4 motherboard, and this is going to be the perfect motherboard for our build because it has the latest support for the Intel Core i3, i5, and i7 processors. It's an ATX motherboard with support of up to 32 GB of DDR3 RAM. It also has an Intel Z97 chipset inside, and for $125, this might seem a little bit steep for some people, but you gotta remember that it is reliable, and it's also optimized for the processor that we're using in this build. For the memory, I chose to go with the Corsair Vengeance 2x8 GB of DDR3 memory. And I know that a lot of people don't need 16 gigs of RAM on a gaming PC, but I figured that if you're going to spend $1,000 on this build, you're probably going to be doing something a little bit more than gaming. And 16 gigs of RAM gives you the slight edge on performance when you're doing things like editing videos or photos. And 16 gigs of RAM is also great for playing high-intensive games like Crysis 3. And for only $114, the Corsair Vengeance Pro definitely gets the job done. Now for storage, we're checking out the Crucial MX100 SSD. And if you're spending $1,000 on a PC, you might as well go with an SSD. It just gives you better performance, and it's just overall faster. And the MX100 has a SATA 6 interface and 256 GB of storage. I know that not everyone likes SSDs, and while this is my primary recommendation for this build, I'm also going to leave a 2 TB hard drive recommendation sort of as an alternative in case you don't want to spend that much money. It'll cost you a little bit less than the solid state drive. For the GPU, we're going to be using the MSI GTX 970 graphics card, and this is one of the best that you can get in this price range. And with 1,664 CUDA cores and 4 GB of DDR5 RAM, you're getting plenty of performance. With it, you get the Twin Frozr 5 cooling system and a clock speed of 1,140 MHz, which can also be overclocked. The GTX 970 is aimed at playing games at higher resolutions like 1440p, and overall it can pretty much handle any game you throw at it without hesitation. And lastly, the power supply that we're going to be using is the Corsair CX 600 watts, and this is a pretty silent power supply that's going to keep your build safe with 600 watts, and it's an incredible deal at only $43. And that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, everything you need will be in the description down below, and if you're interested in more PC builds in the near future or other tech content, go ahead and subscribe down below that like button, and as always, I will catch you guys on the next one.